policy directives in the southern part of China, particularly in Guangdong. And there's no other person in the world can speak of that topic better than Professor Wang, because he is very active in this topic in the southern part of China. Now, without any delay, let me give you Professor Wang's bio, and I will pass the stage to him, and he can educate us about urban renewal or urban village renewal in China nowadays. Dr. Wang Shifu is a Fulbright scholar at MIT in our department. In China, he is a professor and chair of the Department of Urban Planning at South China University of Technology. It's one of the premier school of urban planning in southern part of China. His research and teaching areas include urbanization studies and urban design, with a primary focus on theory and methods. So he has a recent book about, not recent, 2005, recent enough, entitled Implementation-Oriented Urban Design. So without any delay, I will let Professor Wang to educate us about urban renewal or renewal in general in China. Thank you.
Thanks, Professor Hong and Zhenzhen, inviting me here. And thanks for everybody's coming together. It's my pleasure here to share my observations and thinkings on urban renewal in China. And today's talk, I will firstly put the urban renewal into the background of urbanization in China, and with my notion that urban renewal as an endogenous driving force to better urbanization. And then I will take Guangzhou as an example to introduce several cases. Firstly, look at the 1980s to 2010, and I will a little bit detailed introduce the latest 5 years, the 3O movement just mentioned by Hong, and the two, as well as the latest institutional reform in Guangzhou to establish the first urban renewal authority in China. So it's very interesting things to follow. And finally, I will make some discussions about the challenges and the opportunities in China. China's urbanization is very complex driven. That means it's not traditionally only driven by industrialization, but also by globalization and informatization. The transform of the manufacturing industry in developed country just met the time of China's opening policy. So the result in the world factory in China. And the informatization in this century accelerate the spatial and the temporal compression. So you can see in China a tremendous amount of the migrants and the floating peoples with mobiles on wind media is coming to be. It's a kind of new ways to make the bottom-up or participation about China's urbanization and urban planning issues. So China's urbanization is a systematic response and spatial result of exogenous and endogenous dynamics. We look at current China, we can see the growth machine now is slowing down, but the chaotic landscape, the so-called despotism, is still there. And how about our society? It's transitionally restructured by the new house purchasing. It's unstable now because the community is just at the level of the ownership group, but not the means of the community in the Western world. And now the central government urged to open the gated community. We just made a discussion with some students here. It's very interesting. It's from the highest voice to open it, how to open. And we can still see the urban villages inside CBD. We have the high-speed rails heading to the ghost cities. Yes, it's a real latest problems, I think. And about the industrial villages, especially in South China, now facing the shrinking industrial problems. So it's current China. I think I can just draft description here. And when we make some comparative study of the status, when the urbanization rate of the typical countries passed the 50%, now this year China passed 55, and we find that every developed country keep increasing at that point. That means it will be still go faster until perhaps 70%. And this figure, the red, the thick red indicates the fast, rapid urbanization stage. China is expected to be the largest economic entity in 2030. Then will the story of India in 2040, and the happened miracle of Japan is 1960s. And as we know, after we pass the 50%, the speed of urbanization will slow down, and the current policy being implemented in China is made in the premise of expected rapid growth. So I think it needs to be re-examined and necessarily updated. Perhaps it's kind of the new normal is one way of understanding. We need some policy transformations, just like some wedge-shaped box. That means we must cut down or must reduce the resources consumption. At the same time, we still need the policy to support the social economic development to the higher urbanization rate age. So my thinking in the macro level is that perhaps the key word of urbanization in China should shift from sacrifice to refit. A lot of serious gaps in China, such as economic and social development, urban and rural, developed and undeveloped, should be narrowed, the gap, I think. And nowadays we talk about frequently on new urbanization. Some keywords will be evocated, such as welfare, shift, quality development, and social development oriented. Where is it? And go to the local level. Many planning policies, the issue of the local level. All of the Chinese local government are urged from the center to go into so-called new normal. That means you can do more fixed spatial planning instead of the greenfield-based incremental planning, from expansion to fixed development. I think it's the latest trend in the local level. So urban renewal in China must confront at least several problems. Commonly, many existing built-up areas in China appears to decline, such as the industry or the water side. It's common in the world history. But there's still some particular things in China. You can see a lot of low-quality substance accompany economic growth rather than recession. Low quality here. And as well as areas like an over-constructed ghost town. How to renew it, or how to renew the new build is rather a challenge. And besides, more and more affluent urban residents, they are unsatisfied with the built environment. I think there's something to be considered here. So urban renewal, from my view, is a kind of city's ability, which is visible through everyday quality and reflects the city's intrinsic value. So here comes my notion is that an endogenous driving force to better urbanization. I always ask myself the questions: if we improve the standard construction fee and the maintenance physical systems to establish, to maintain the building and the environment in sustainable, in sustained high quality, what will happen to transform China? Is it a new dynamic what China urgently need? I think perhaps related to the urban renewal. So some questions are promoted here. Not mine, I think. How to link the huge consumption potential releasing to better urbanization? How to associate the existing assets with strategic industrial transformation or development? How to change the policy to improve the material quality from developing level to developed, because we are supposed to be the largest economic entity. I don't know how to support it. So now is the brief notion with the background. We go to the main topic of the urban renewal in Guangzhou. First, we trace back to 1980s. This is a very famous case, Donghu Xincheng. Yeah, it happened in 1979 to 82. You can see the land is acquired something like the landfill from the original lake. They're built as the high-rise gated community with a shared garden. This project is the first commercial housing project. It's the first foreign investment in real estate. Also, it's the first gated community. So you can see the scale. The land area is 31,000 square meters. So at the time, there is no basis or experience, just depended on the negotiation between the local government and the Hong Kong developer. The contract is highly concerned by the party center committee because it's just the opening age. How to deal with the market, it's rather new. The contract is, inside the contract, the local government must provide land and the municipal infrastructures. Hong Kong developer invest the capital offering design and the building constructions. And the result is 2/3 of the build were held by local government to sell to the local market. 1/3 was sold by developers in Hong Kong by Hong Kong dollars. First day sold out. It's very easy to sell out. So here we can find a paradigm is that Hong Kong is advanced market system. So we just negotiate to, at that time, something like possible is possible. If you make agreement, just do it. It's just the beginning of our opening policy in South China. And 1 decade later, go to the 1990s. There is another still the same famous case named Li-Wan Plaza. You can see this is a monster here in this map with 8 residential towers stands on the commercial base. The scale is almost 50,000 square meters. The FAR reached 6. So you can see the left map is the before 1980. It's 1978 map. Yes, map. So this project is famous. Why famous? Because it's a counter-example, mostly criticized by historical preservationists, known as the largest urban redevelopment project at that time. You can see this is it broken the traditional arcade street, replaced it with a great monster. At that time, the policy is something like 40-60 agreement between government and the developer. The 40% for resettlement for the local residents, and the other 60% was the commercial housing owned by the developers. The local government must offer a set of tax-free and the fee reduction at the time, encourage the capital going to the market at the time, as well as the public facility is the obligation of the, government. So here we can see another paradigm is that the residential high-rise towers stand on the commercial base, so-called complex. That means it's still introduced from Hong Kong. So we come to the late 1990s. The situation of the destruction of the old city is serious. That is criticized. Even Guangzhou is not the worst, but it's seriously criticized. The historical district physically declined, and the demolition, reconstruction with the high density with the monster are here and there. So this year there's some milestone issue happened. The mayor Lin Shushen is a very strong leader it's a native Guangzhouese. Yes. At that day, Guangzhou government announced that the developers were not allowed to involve the urban redevelopment within the scope of the city. Mayor Lin pointed out or criticized the 40-60 policy. It ensured the interest of the developers, but led to the increasing density of the old city with the declined quality. So we can calculate easily. From the 1980s, 1/3, gradually rise up to the 60%. That means this is the profit of the developer. So perhaps it's not very accurate, but from the material you can find this trend. That means the developer gets more and more. At the same time, the Mayor Lin is a very strong strategic maker. He just made the first strategic plan in China and implemented it. So you can see nowadays the big Guangzhou with the north new airport and the south new port, and now is the pilot free trade zone. So the first decade of the new century is government-led non-market period. There is a famous project, Jiefang Zhong Plot, happened in 2005 to 7. Such period, the urban renewal work is project-based. Many focus on the deteriorated plots of the average very small scale size, with worn buildings, including a large number of dangerous, the physically decayed or declined at that time. So this project is around, the level is around 10,000 square meters. You can see the planning map. The darker orange means the existing buildings is in good conditions or high architectural value, so they preserve it. It's one of our work of our university. So, and the new build, you can see such that is new build is tailored to the site, yes, to show respect to the historical fabric. And this density is a little bit decreased because it's very special that 27 of the 120 households with almost 2,000 square meters real estate, that means household real estate abandoned. Very complicated reasons. Some are missing the ownership or just go abroad, anything. And these projects include commercial areas, about 1,500. Most of them are street shops. That means it's very easy to sell out. So this is the picture. You can see the white 5 or 6 story new buildings is something like infillment to the old city. And we preserve several groups of the valuable old buildings. It's not a relic or historical list, but it is evaluated by the planners, then it is good, or through the negotiation with the local government and the ownership, it makes the agreement to preserve and then renovate it. So you can see this is the old street in the left with the new, and the old with the new. Yeah, this is the brand new apartment to improve the standard of the living environment, I think. So this is a view from the new to the old. I think you can recall some nostalgia. You can realize it. So this time the policy is emphasize so-called self-balance on site. That means the site should deal with all your own issues. We do not relocate it or we should compensate the money out of this site. So no forced demolition and relocation. Residents entirely by volunteer decision to move back, relocation, or receive financial compensation. And last, eventually all the residents are choose to relocate it in original site. For property owners to move back, only 300 to 500 yuan, Chinese yuan, per square meters construction fee to pay for original area of the property. If we want to buy more, perhaps it's the market price about 5,000 yuan. At that time, it's reasonable, I think. And the government reconstruction cost has been recovered through the sale of the commercial street shops I just mentioned. So the government do invest some money, but take back from the commercial street stores. It's very easy to sort out. So here we can see we turn to another paradigm, so-called organic update without market involvement. Because market perhaps is a very, very bad thing to criticize at that time, especially in the old city. At the same time, perhaps all the developers are go to the suburb or go to the new town or go to the new developed zones. So to preserve and renovate the old, and at the same time, the new build respect to the city context is very, how to say, it's a good feature of this project, I think. Then we come to another very important time is 2009, the 3-0 policy. 3-0 reconstruction policy is a very special pilot policy given by the Ministry of Land Resource, belong to central government, to Guangdong province, only to Guangdong, and the execution period only 3 years. So to me, why I just define it as a movement, a 3-0 movement, because before the 3-0 policy was issued, what is old? Why is this 3-0? It's not discussed, how to say, fully, and with no consensus. Then it just begins from the political way to start it. So this map you can show shows the percentage, the proportion of the policy plot area accounted for the built-up area at the town level in per-rural data. Yeah. So the darker means the how to say, the high proportion of the 3-0 plots. You can see it's just concentrated in the center. Here, this location is Old Guangzhou. Yeah, you can see. So Guangzhou is the pioneering policy implementer. Oh yeah, here I should make a supplement. 3-0 means the decline area in old cities, the old factories, the old villages. So it's 3 kind of old built-up environment in one policy box. So first question is why? Obviously, seeking land resource is the first purpose, because at that time, most of the local city in Guangdong, they lost the incremental quota from the land resource control. Perhaps you know the background, because they, I think half of the city already exceeds the bottom line of the control from the central government. That means in the master plan, they should be shrinking master plan. So how to deal with the land resource to support the development? So I think this is the first purpose. And other, I think you can imagine that the low efficiency of the existing land use, low quality of built-up environment, I think it's all of the reasons. And we can we make some survey in Shunde. Shunde is one of the famous world factory location. The low efficiency of the scattered land use, we can find it more than 80% of their villages, industrialized villages. The industrial output value is lower than their own average level. So the scatter mode is in very, very low efficiency. And then the second question comes is who will implement the 3.0? Of course, government is the advocator. They want to do something like land consolidation to rearrange the within the quota. And developer this time they are something like they are set back to because this policy is not designed for the developer in the market acquisition of the land and the development and so on. But developers still play a very important role to the implicit funds. Very interesting, and historically, the current land owner come to one of the main role in this movement. They gain the priority of redeveloping. So we can go on. Yes, take Guangzhou as the example. The total 3.0 area will be 400 square kilometers, a great amount. The physical execution is that includes 3 ways. The first, if you choose to self-reconstruction your site, that means you are the landowner, you can choose the self-construct. If for commercial use, just pay the price disparities between current land use and commercial use. And for non-commercial use or creative industry that is advocated by the government, just like the WeWork, just like the design company to accommodate them, they just need to pay 30% of the market value of the business use. So it's very easy to implement by the landowner themselves. And if the policy is go to the governmental reservation for market purpose, the owner will be returned with 50% of the total sale price, or the price equal to no more than FAR 3.5. And another calculation is almost the same, insurance about the returned money to the owners. And another way to governmental taking over for public purpose, the owners will obtain 6% of the commercial use, average according to the average FAR 1.8. It's rather a big amount of money. So here we can see something is better than before, such as reasonable compensation when taking over. But in fact, most of the landowners choose the first way or second way, because if the land is for market purpose, when the landowners go back to the market, they have priority. They have very advantages to get the opportunities because they have the great discount. So I think the first choice is self-reconstruction. Second is find some hidden developers to retake from the government, use the discount. So here, owners' priority to redevelop. I think redevelopment is one kind of development right. So I will discuss later. It is unfair in this policy, but it really works to encourage the owners' priority to redevelop. So we see the first old is old factories. It's the easiest to implement. The vast majority of the 3 old are the old plant redevelopment and the renovation project. The reason I think everybody know, good location and scale, ownership is very simple and clear. Some buildings is easily to be reused. I have no very detailed information about Guangzhou at hand because this time I have no time to collect it. But yet I introduce another project in Dongguan, which I am the planner. Dongguan is a city. Always they implement the easiest policy. This time they use the 1/3 principle. That means in the project planning, no less than 1/3 public land use for green space, roads, public facilities, or infrastructure. If you do this project planning into this policy box, it's easy to be permitted. So this is our planning. You can say this, the left is the old factory, the right is the plant. So we go to the regulatory map is approved finally, the market will gain around 10 hectare valued land. And the public will gain a transportation hub here and the road system to support the new city area, not like the past industrialized zone. And the roads and the green space. This, I think, is a little bit more than 1/3, so it's easy to be permitted. I think the old factory is easy to understand. The second is not very easy, but it goes smoothly forward. Is old villages. There are 4 models in this policy box. First is public transfer financing. Second is self-reconstruct agreement transfer financing model. The third is rolling development model. Almost the same, but the first is that sell out part of the land of the villages to gain money, to obtain money to cover the reconstruction. The second is, that means the village can make agreement with the developer, but as a mega project, that means the whole village are thrown into one project and share the built areas, something like the joint company to run the village. And the second is a kind of phased implementation policy. That means use several plots as the in terms of the demolition, reconstruct, and the resettlement. And it can avoid the long time move out. So it's almost the same. So first 3 models are trying to change the urban villages into a city with the selling out part of their land. In these models, the government will make the transformation from the collective ownership to public ownership, but without any fee. Then all the land revenue go back to the project itself, and do not take over for other uses. Yes, it's another, the fourth way is especially for the suburban villages, not the city village. That means the location is in fringe or more remote. Then it's only environmental improvement. Here, the procedure regulation is very go one step to the democratic purpose. Is that prior to the project review, no less than 90% of the villages must agree. Otherwise, the planning bureau, the government will not receive your proposal. So it's firstly implemented in Guangzhou. I don't know other cities. So we can see a very famous village case totally implemented. It's Liede. Yes, it's very. This is 1980s. It's suburb style, water village, and nowadays it's just inside the CBD. That is the Guangzhou central axis. So it's a very good location. So before demolition, and this is before the just here. You can mention. I noticed. I want to notice you to focus on this Liede Bridge and Liede Avenue. It's very special related to this village. So in 2007, you can see the left photo. The bridge is under construction, but the village is still there. It's hard negotiation. It's a very hard, tough negotiation between government and because Dingzihu, yes, at the time it stopped. But why it goes such suddenly change? I think the hidden force for the government, not only the CBD need the avenue, but Asia Game need, because 2010 is the Asia Game time. Guangzhou needs to do a great promotion of the infrastructure. It's from the political purpose, I think, but it's very special related to this Liede village. So it's a great deal between the village and the government in 2007. You can see this map is the planning map. It's divided into 3 parts. The east is the resettlement of the villagers FAI is very high. It's high-rise residential building, including school, from kindergarten to upper school, and some facilities. And they rebuilt a group of ancestor hall, Lingnan style, the South Chinese style, in this location. And the east subdivided into two parts. The southeast is collective-owned commercial land area. It's high density. You know, the west side is a part of the CBD, so it's a very good location to make value from the market. And the northeast is sale to the market to balance the revenue. Eventually, it gets 4.6 billion yuan to cover the reconstruction of the resettlement. It's successfully made deal. So you can see the construction. They rebuilt a group of ancestor halls, just collective in ancestor hall plaza, and renovate the houses along the river. Now it's something like gentrification, leisure street. It's famous. So here, the policy is government village market joint deal. Sold part of the land to finance the reconstruction, maximize the location value. Then this is a cooperation from all the roles. And the paradigm here, now Liede village is a kind of dream model for other villages. Even a very remote villages just make a dream. Yeah, if one day I will be Liede. But it's very interesting. And the result is we can experience an exotic urban village in the CBD. The village totally transformed from an original broad-based community to share capital joint company, and welcoming the struggling tenants in the city. The rent price perhaps double after the reconstruction. So the tenants is upgraded at the old time because very low price, but now it's high price apartment in the CBD. And you can mention here, yeah, this is collective owned by the villagers. That means it's the joint company of the villagers owned, and they run a 5-star Riverview hotel. And yeah, you can see here, now it's totally built. Then the third is the most difficult to deal with, to implement this old city. You can imagine it because the ownership is very scattered and it's very difficult to organize it. So at that time, Guangzhou just initialized the updated plan of the old city, covered the whole old city scope, more than 50 square kilometers. The principle is environmental and functional improvement and historical preservation. So the 2 million people and the total floor area here is maintained. That means no new adding floor area will be allowed in this plan until now. And the procedure regulation, the same as the villages in the old city, is that prior to the project review, no less than 2/3 of the residents must agree this project. Otherwise, it will be rejected. 2009 is another turning point because the Guangzhou is prepared for hosting the next year Asia Games. Something will be accelerated. The government executed 2 major renewal projects. One is just I tell you the story of Liede, and another is Anning district. Yeah, this case is very special to me because I'm in charge of the planning, and it is full of the story mode of the emotional changing of the decision-making process. I will tell you a story. When I involved in 2009, it is a site demolition. That means the demolition work is ongoing when we involve it. So before 2007, I'd like to notice you that this shape inspired our planning ideas. Okay, this is the current model. Yes, I will tell you, it's difficult. Along the street are the old buildings. Perhaps most of them built in the 1930s, and you can see the tall red. It's the 1990s model. One is developed by Hong Kong developer, and one is Macau. Hong Kong and Macau stand here. And in the middle is the building built in 1950s to 60s. You can see. Simply imagine it. There are at least three types of buildings here. And here come to another very strange things in China, in the old city. We have the regulatory plan controlled by the administrative government. You can mention the several strange things. I always criticize that the white one is the functional road system advocated by the traffic engineering. They said we must need the density of the road, so the demolition will happen when the site will be redeveloped. And the red line, the boundary of the red line is so-called demolition permission line. That means at the past year, if you get this line, it means that you can begin to demolish. You can begin to negotiate with the owners to relocate them. So from 2007, the demolition work is beginning. There's some plan to guide the demolition. You can see perhaps this part of the left, the east part. So this time, is self-balanced reconstruction policy period. Is refuse the developer to involve the old city is that background. So you can see, yes, it's okay. This plan is agreed and permitted by many peoples, including planning bureau. And next year, they make some update. That means we should make some more concern on aesthetic performance. So they introduce something like street cope and to emphasize this. But we totally criticize, is it local style of Guangzhou? Absolutely not. It's a kind of Barcelona or European blocks, super block. So, but it keep go on. So the time comes. The government come to me. Can you promote something for Guangzhou for this plot for hosting Asia Game, because we need some highlights in old city for China, because every time the Asia Game is push Guangzhou as a representative of China to host the Asia Friends. So it's very interesting background. Firstly, I just go back to the historical map, because to my memory, Guangzhou is the old water town. So finally, I confirm in our site, the covered road, just like this, is a river in the old time. This is the late Qing Dynasty photo. So in July, we initialized some planning ideas to the government, including reopen the covered river, reject the invasive two wide roads. This one, yeah. And I think this scheme aroused a lot of sensitive discussion inside. I know some details because different leaders tell me different taste or preference. It's a hard time. And the site is still on the demolition. Okay, and after 2 months, because the time is very limited, next year will be the Asia Game. So 2 months, we submit this planning scheme to government. we make some progressive work. I know at the time part of the decision maker agreed us, so we can put forward. This is the map. Yeah, we render some nostalgia renderings to tell the public it will be possibly reopened to the past. It's very interesting. And finally, it is approved in April, in just half a year before Asia Game. So the decision here, now the decision is made to reopen the river. That is a consensus at the time. Even the planning is still on the way. So this is incremental. They want to take this corner as one of the pilot scenery to show to the Asia friends at the time. So, and then we keep going on, make the detailed constructive plan that deal with a lot of technical problems, including the traffic system, infrastructure, and how to deal with the water circulation, a lot of things. And you can see the 2 roads is drive-away. Yeah, that means we just reject, we success in this, how to say, anti-road system, anti-modern road system. Finally, the regulatory detail plan, that is the formal plan approved by Guangzhou Planning Committee. We totally changed the mode of the, how to say, the plans. So you can easily show the difference. And yes, in this site, how to build the new buildings is still a question. So we initialize some guidance to how to build the new. The traditional style is appreciated by the common local people and by the common peoples. But the architects prefer the bottom one. And we also initialize some semi-traditional. Yes, I tell the planning bureau and telling all the developers that everything is accepted as a planner. Yeah, you can do. But at the same time, if you want to join up this guidance, it will be seriously discussed. It's very hard to approve. You just follow it. So it's our work, very interesting. But at the same time, we meet another problem, is the market unattractive. Because after the policy change, it will be divided into a very small parcel land. It can be sold to the, because it is already owned by the government. But it's parcel is very small scale, and with a lot of regulations detailed, they don't willing to go into market. So how to deal with the market parcel? I hold a seminar, invite many developers to make a forum. Yes, I promote some. I tell them I'm only a planner. I don't know the marketing. I don't know the proposal of your fiscal purpose or how to run the real estate. But I put forward very simple calculation. That means the left and the up is our plan. The FAR is only 1. But this is your what do you like? The style is FAR 3 point. At that time, such house can make the market price as 15,000 per square meters. And I asked them, can you estimate another type of real estate for me? Because I don't know the price. I'm not an economist to make the real estate industry. The minimum price is they estimate is 50,000. So I get it. Yes, the total profit can work, and why not? So I totally know that it's not only a cost profit problem, but it's a kind of model. That means they do not want to involve such complicated development process. Even there is some profit. Most of the developers say, yeah, perhaps it's a kind of new development or new commodities. I just encourage them, yes, everybody needs a villa in the suburb. This is a villa inside the old city. Why not? But it's still I don't know this puzzle until now. And so dramatically, the story is going on. New chance happened in 2012. It's by accident, I think I should recall it. The former mayor and the current mayor go to inspect the project on site. The two are native Guangzhouis. They are the fans of local opera, 越剧, the two mayors. And this district, this block is famous because many famous opera actors live here. And their old house, and until now, there's some society, how to say, to organize the local art activities very lively. So, just on the side, they make the fast decision. That means we should build a local opera art museum here because they find, yes, this lot is already cleared up, and the river is reopened. So it's a very, very good location for the local opera art happen here. So it's fastly put forward. They make the, yes, I just make some coordination about the planning control. This is the visions of them. You can see the process before 2008 is quiet, and the demolition, and the reopen the river, and the museum construction. You can see some the renovate of the Arcade Street, and then the reopen of the river. The build of the now is totally built. I think it's open in January this year. So this day we should remember is I clearly remember it's May 12th because it's the Wenchuan earthquake memorial day. At the day I'm in Wenchuan, I received a call from the mayor. So we totally opened the first section of the road. We get it. It's very, very hard. It is a political difficulties hidden in the process. I don't want to extend, but it's valuable. Half years later, we welcome to Guangzhou, the triumph of Asia Game. Just only less than 6 months, we get this result. So everything is proud. Everybody is proud. Yeah, you do a good things. But you know, if we tell the story hidden in this photo, but I don't believe it. But do it. So it's Guangzhou before the Asia Game. Now it's a very hot spot to the tourists and the representative of the urban renewal. Yeah, this is a set of a very scenario. So we trace back our rendering. Yes, we partly realized the nostalgia, I think. But I'm puzzled until now, is it eventually a public project? Because all the demolition fees, all the land consolidation investment from the government are go to public project, the museum. So we can easily imagine in China, it's easy to make the decision, yes, we after the demolition, we build public facilities. But where is the community? Where is the market? This is only one largest plot to accommodate the museum and other puzzles how to go. So I think the story should be continued. So we go back. 3 old to renew. I just tell you in February 2015, the first urban renewal authority established in Guangzhou. I think it's really, how to say, milestone. So here, I'd like to make some conclusion to comparative analysis of the procedures. In the 1980s, it's obviously the capital attraction, market-driven to the privatization. At the time, the city form is functionalism. The gated community began to form. And the 1990s, the market-driven is still raised up, and the Hong Kong style modernism and high-density complex played the most role. And 1990s is the profit maximization of the market, I think. It's because the paradigm is demolish and replace. And this 10 years is very, how to say, sound fair, sound very, very socialist. That means non-market, self-government, organic. But I think I would like to criticize it a little bit conservative publicity bias, because you can, how much issues can you afford for a government? You just focus on some pilot project, it's okay, but can you promote or can you apply it to the whole city? But it's still some good features here. That means the city form begin considering the historical preservation. And this is very, how to say, it's a transformational period of the 3.0 movement to urban renewal. So the owner's priority is emphasized and reorganize the multi-driver, both the market and the landowners. I think it's full of compromise, but it is compromise to get to exchange the multi-driven for the urban renewal. And this time, the aesthetic pluralism is, how to say, here and there. Nostalgia, the postmodern, and the wild, yeah, everything we want, everything we welcome to Guangzhou. Yeah. So this is the latest things. Here I want to make a conclusion of the 3.0 because it is go away historically. It's a kind of land consolidation policy which are characterized by at least 2 points. First, pragmatic admission of the actual status of land use. It's first time in China. That means something illegal land use will be permitted to reuse. Yes, because of the constraint of the new quota. And the second is the return of the landowners from the land revenue. It's a kind of reform, policy reform, I think. Also, the experience of social collaboration and the compromise to obtain the joint forces should be considered as important progressive works through the 3.0 movement. So the latest news about the new Urban Renewal Authority is this January. The Guangzhou City Renewal Ordinance has been executed. Include 7 chapters regulating the general provisions, the procedures, and so on. One of the important provisions is that the urban renewal approach includes not only large-scale transformation, but also small-scale micro-transformation, like patchwork. I will fastly, yes, the ending road come back again. And this is another ongoing project by my team still in Guangzhou. Yes, this time is a very micro level. This is the preservation buildings on the list. Is the status of ownership. And the principle is maintain the fabric, preservation, renovate, and now we reintegrate the interior space to accommodate the new functions. We are doing the things, and Wanke involved this. They are still seeking what they can do. Okay, I will jump. And the discussion will be, because the challenge and opportunities is asked by STL. So I can hardly answer the question exactly, but I will give some feelings. One is the decision-making process and the profit configuration, and still contest paradigm. What is good renewal? I don't want to read. You can just take a fast look. And I showed out on the inequity of this policy, because they just acted to the specific project, not commonly applied. And this is another issue about the paradigm. Yes, we know the prototype between West and it still works until now. But now we criticize the wield But every time when I attend the forum in the central government, I like to say that a city where could debate, argue, and finally include all kinds of creative field has the character to keep advancing, just like Paris. But nowadays, China, they criticize the comment of the landmark building, just a kind of amusement, just a kind of metaphor image. You can see, yeah. I think it still needs to be improved through the professional architecture review, architecture critic. Yeah, but it's another issue. About the opportunities, I think at least there are two opportunities. One is the growing demands. I have make the notion that perhaps it's a new dynamic to improve the built environment. Second is the social behavior is change. Yeah, this is another story. We used the WECO to stop some demolition of the government, and we published the papers. This is WECO and Ma Xiangming, my friend, one of the famous planners, they take a photo at the site. And the turning point occurs in the traditional media, the newspaper and the TV involved, and the great pressure to the municipal government. They said, yeah, we should stop to demolish this for a square, just for a public square. I don't know. So it's very interesting. It can do. And in the EARNING project, a group of NGO named EARNING Concern Group, they rent a house and supervise the demolition. They post the postcard. I think everything happened in China from bottom up. This is an ongoing another project of my studio to how to take charge of the Nanhuaxi. We just perhaps several days later we will use the APP to collect. The neighborhood here told me that perhaps some relatives all over the world will involve in this project, saying, yeah, welcome. So I didn't want to read because the time is limited. I want to say something to government, society, and the market. What is urban renewal? It's my, yeah, I just jumped it. So thanks. Sorry.
Okay, thank you so much for a very rich presentation. We have a class after this in this room?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. So we have about 10 minutes. Sorry. Any burning question you want to ask? Yes, please. Identify yourself, please, if you can.
Hi, my name is Eliza, and I don't go to MIT. I'm working right now at Amazon, and I'm interested in this. But I'm curious, what are the government's or your considerations for environmental impact of development, whether that be, energy efficiency or carbon emissions or building material or designs? What are the considerations?
Yeah, perhaps today's most of the content are not related to your topic, but I think it's a box of technical improvement. Not only the new district in the new town or new city center, but I think in the historical city, it still all of your concerns must be emphasized through the just like planning making, the proposals of. In fact, the planning bureau in Guangzhou now set up some new criteria of the carbon emission and the green ratio related to the. It's very difficult to describe what is the specific relation between a tiny plot to a macro environment. But they just translate from the macro level to the detailed plan level. That means perhaps it will be improved in the future planning permission. We will add some criteria according to your concern.
Hi, I'm Leanne. I work in the affordable housing industry in Boston. I was wondering how the government has learned from the uneven implementation of urban renewal in the West, particularly in America, and particularly in urban areas.
Yeah, it's yes. I think there are some thinkings in the second. What I want to say to the Chinese society. Now we are on the process on the way. First, perhaps we need the entity incubating, such as where is the activers, where is the active participationers. Now in China, you know, China is very, the character of Chinese people is not very public advocate, public involved. So it's the first step. Second is empowered by themselves and the government. They will make rooms to the issues or what they want. And yet future, I wish to, we can go to a major self-organized communities. I know Boston, yes, is very strong, but okay.
I just want to follow up with that affordable housing question very quickly. I happen to know the leader case a little bit. I didn't do the primary research myself, but I actually know about it. There are two somewhat negative outcomes from that project. One is a lot of migrant workers were displaced, either by force or by market. The second is the location that you mentioned in your presentation, because of the urban renewal. Demand for housing around the neighborhood began to rise. When demand rises, prices go up, and thereby the second round of displacement by even middle class income residents. So I want to get a sense from you, from that perspective, how the projects, not just the other project you mentioned in Guangdong or Guangzhou, have dealt with that problem.
That means affordable, how to balance the affordable. Yes, perhaps some relationship with the formal question. Now the affordable house policy is strangely promoted from the central government, urged the local government how many households should be provided. And if we can connect this demand, that means policy trend, to urban renewal and to ghost cities, perhaps you will find some new solutions. Now we just show respect to the landowners, but not for the tenants. Just drive them away and reorganize, just follow the market value. But I think some pioneering local government will promote, for my experience, that means to make some agreement with the urban villages to accommodate the affordable house, or prevent the group of the additional, that means the area, the floor areas. All the urban village have much more than what they need. Perhaps one household will have 10 apartments. They only need at least 10 units. And how to arrange the additional 8? Can it combine into this policy box? I think the traditional way is through the planning control. We can urge each plan, just like Boston. That means how many proportion of the affordable house should be provided in each project. I think every method, I think possible is possible. If the target is affordable house, many ideas change, or a rational method will be applied in China. But because this is the turning point, just on the way, we're just in the midpoint of the urbanization. Sorry.
I'm Colleen, and I'm a first year student here at the department. So I think that the case you're showing are very interesting. They show the plurality of modernist ideas, preservativist ideas, almost neo-urbanist ideas, all embedded in it. And apparently designers play a big role in the process. But all these projects, well, I shouldn't say all, but maybe a lot of them are institution-driven. The anchor is the big institution. They have the power to say, okay, this is better. They can negotiate with the government, and the market sometimes is even absent in the process. So I was just wondering if we go back to the main trend of developer or market-driven consumerist process, what do you see in the future, especially after the new policy, would be the change for the role of architectural urban designers in next phase of design and development?
I think it's not the issue of the architect or urban planner. It's more related to the STL lab. Is the developer can go to more socially responsible, I think, because this is one of the key. Because for me, all the students in my university know what is justice. Even perhaps they are not very clearly demonstrated, but they know, yes, a planner is born to public, defenders, or anything is representative of the justice. So I don't care the role of planners. Architects a little bit market-driven because they make money from the. So I just say we need some high-quality comment and professional critic on architecture. What is good or what is justice? It's okay. Every society, I think, just let architecture be. But planners, I think, should hold the situation of the public profit. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Wang. It's a really great talk. It's very informational. And my name is Ginger. I'm from STL Lab. So I'm very interested in the challenge. One of the main challenges you mentioned that after the decade in 2000, the challenge is from the market, because before pre-2000 it's all market-driven, so the government never worry about any motivation for the development. Well, after 2000, the government become more social, environmental aware, so they want to do something which is good. So they made a challenge, which is like you mentioned in the ending project, a lot of developers shows their indifference, right? Because comparing to do a new town development, the profit is maybe about the same, but it's much more effort and time consumed. So get back to your Liede case. I think my question is that you mentioned that there's some difficulty moment for the displacement. However, it seems that in China a lot of this ideal model was conditioned by the big event, like Asia, like become the final force to get the project done. So that's very rare, right? And the leader, and also interestingly, when Hong mentioned that a lot of displacement problem, but still considered as an ideal model, maybe by the government or maybe by some general public. So how do you see that project will be transferable to the rest of the village, which don't have this big event opportunity?
I think the case is partly, it seems to be driven by the Asia game, but it still has some rational relationship and a reasonable negotiation between the market and the government and the villagers. So it can be promoted, I think. But I'm convinced, because in China, just like in UK, the legal system is based on the case. That means this case, how to deal with, and it will be. But in China, the experience of Liede now is concluded by another rational model. I don't say it is a model, but how to balance the developer and with more social responsibility. And I think my opinion is that we should cut down a great proportion of the profit gained by the villager themselves, because there is unfair for the city. But it's difficult. But I have said this opinion for the central government. I think we should rebalance it, because where is the new citizens? Where is the struggles in the urbanizations? Just like the graduate students, how they can enter it. So your question is deeply challenged to the political reform. How about the extent? This is the first time. But it's very interesting. If you can examine the difference between Guangzhou and Shanghai, you can find more possibilities that sometimes other cities would like to follow Guangzhou style. and some just waiting for the central government or other policies to save them. So I think the diversity will be the new future of the. Most of the political leaders will say one village, one policy, if you want. It's still going. That means if you can make a new innovative agreement with a developer, you can submit your proposal to the desk. Perhaps it will be the new leader, the post leader. Leader is not finished now.
Because of time, we have to close. It's a very interesting discussion, but as a moderator of the talk, I will have the last word. I think this talk is particularly relevant for the mission of the STL Lab. That is to promote socially responsible real estate entrepreneurship around the world, but focus on China. And I think both Jin and you have a very interesting conversation that highlight the process of moving towards that direction. Again, I agree with both of you that Leda is not a quote-unquote good example, so to speak, from our standard. But in China, it's already a one step forward. That has a very good balance between the villages. It is very powerful in southern China, we know that, and the developers. So if we can move one step forward, next step will be to consider who don't have that power. How can we include them into discussion? And we have to be patient in doing this in China. This is China in terms of institutional reform. Tanya will know, go very, very slowly, very cautiously, but they do it.
Yeah.
And they have done that in the past. So we have to be patient, and the lab has to be patient. And we will move forward one step at a time. Thank you so much.